Hello everyone, Candice here with some advanced Australian accent tips for you today. Ordinarily, I would be teaching the basics of the Australian accent. Today, I've decided to take things one step further and put out an advanced video for my subscribers who have been doing this for a little while now. What I'm going to be talking about in this video is the letter combination A and N. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. You might like to check out some of my previous videos that don't focus on something quite so difficult. Nevertheless, watch this one anyway. You might learn something and you might find it entertaining. If you are returning and you've seen my videos before, thank you so much for coming back. And to everybody, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Really helps me out and it's completely free. So let's get started on this. What I'm going to touch on in this video is very advanced. This is really for people who feel like their Australian accent is pretty much on point, to the point where they reckon they can fool the locals if they were to visit Australia. So if you're at that point, then this is the video for you. I actually filmed this segment last week when I was putting together my short A video for you, and I was going to include it in that video, but I decided that this information kind of deserved its own video because I didn't want to confuse people who were really trying to practice that short A sound. So as we get into it, if you're watching and you really can't hear what I'm talking about, that's okay. It just means that you need to train your ear a little bit more. So keep on watching and then also go back and look at some of my other videos and keep on practicing your Australian accent. Okay, so let's get right on into it, and here is the video that I prepared for you last week. So I'm going to attempt to touch on something that I warn you is very, very difficult and also very advanced. So if you're still a beginner in your Australian dialect, just ignore this bit. I don't want to confuse you, but if you feel like you've got a pretty good handle on the Australian dialect and you really want to challenge yourself to get it really perfect, then this is something that you might like to try your hand at. And that is the A sound followed by an N. This is one of those very annoying letter combinations that is really tricky and really confusing. And the reason is because, as we know, the A sound has a very open mouth. It's open, the sound is high in the throat, but when you hit that N, it needs to flatten out. So essentially your A squeezes into a bit of an E sound, but not all the way. So it's a really, really subtle shift from A to A. Basically, because of the N, you're just pushing that sound even further up into your nose. You kind of sound like a crow. An. It's very ridiculous. It's not pretty. Don't try to sound Australian if you want to sound pretty. It won't work. So let's look at my name, for example. Candice. It's not Candice. It's not that wide, because if I say Candice, then it sounds British. If I want it to sound Australian, I need to flatten out that A just a little bit to get a an. But it's not all the way to E. It's not Candice. So have a listen if you can hear the difference. If I say ken, can, ken, can. Can you hear that? If you can hear it, then I think you're ready to try it for yourself. If you can't hear it, it's okay. You just need to keep on training your ear. This is very, very tricky. To try another way of explaining it, listen to the words end and act. Can you hear the difference between and act? It's so slight, but it's that N that is really driving the sound of the and. Act, and, act. Do you hear that? End, and, act. It's almost like it starts off small and it just gets wider on every word. End, and, act. So what I'm doing with my again, check out the short vowel sound video if you haven't for the sound. From there, the shape, the outside, like my lips and things don't really change that dramatically, but inside my mouth, the back of my tongue is raising up to push that sound into my nose. End, and, act. And then on that last word, it's all the way open. Act. It's almost even like you're just elongating that sound. Let's look at the word ken, K-E-N. It's short. That short is really short, ken. But if I elongate it just a little bit, it becomes can. Ken, can, ken, can. So it's almost like but really long and more nasal. Just another way to think about it if that helps you. Let's try some other words. Let's look at the word land. So let's start off with that sound. Lend, land, and we'll say lack to get that sound. Give it an ending. Lend, land, lack. My mouth isn't moving. It's just the back of my tongue that's pushing up to make that Can you make that sound? Try it out loud. I'm a crow. Land, lack. Land, lack. Okay? It's really hard. Let's look at just a couple more words so that I don't overwhelm you. But I just want to give you a little taste of this. Because if you're at that point where you think perhaps you could probably convince somebody that you're Australian, this is the type of sound that will give you away and no one will be able to tell you why. They'll just go, oh, you sound a bit British if you say Candice instead of Candice. Meh. So another word is answer. It's not answer and it's not all the way an answer. It's answer. Answer, answer, answer. You want to hit that middle ground. And we'll try one last one. Plant. Plant. So let's go through that combination again. Plant is the Plant is the middle one. And plant. So it's almost just like, it just needs to be that little bit longer because you're hitting that N. Plant. Plent, plant, plant. Can you hear how plant sounds British? Sounds like a bit of a British dialect. Plant. I hope that made sense. If it did, let me know. Leave me a comment. If it didn't, tell me that too. I need to know so I can figure out a different way to explain it. Thank you very much for watching this. I hope this has helped you. I hope I haven't confused you. And I'm planning to do more videos like this one where I take a bit of a deeper look at the different vowel sounds. If you would like to see that, leave me a comment. I'd like to know what you'd like to see. I'll see you soon. Bye!